So I'm Jamie Poole, the company is Underwood Homes, and we're building 2 houses on this site. When we got the plot, there's 2 old stables here that had planning to be converted, but they were in such bad state it wasn't worth trying to convert. So we managed to get planning to knock them down and build a new dwelling, which is what we've started now. The lads in the background are on the footings for the house. They started yesterday and they're just doing the last trench on the front of the house now, and then they're going to be on the garage. Tomorrow we're concreting that, ready for building, basically. Took probably 3 or 4 days to set out a load of profiles, which are all these bits of wood with spray paint and things like that just look like a load of mess, but every single wall of the house is marked on these profiles, and they're all off to the side, so they're out of the way. Basically, we can set a string line up on each pin, and it tells us where the walls are, you know, on the ground, so we know exactly where to dig. We can put a string line out, spray paint the floor, dig the trench, take string lines away, get the digger in, and then I put them back up when I start building the walls, things like that. Footings need to go about 1 metre deep. We're lucky on such hard ground here that we found just a solid seam of rock at about 700 mil, so we don't need to go any deeper than that. They're like perfect for house footings. Building control coming out this afternoon to check them, make sure they're all safe and everything's good, and then we can concrete tomorrow morning. That's the house, that's where the edge of the house finishes, and then this is where the footings for the garage is going to be. You can see earlier I was on about these profiles, this is them in action. So we've got a string line, that one's centre dig. We basically put the string line and that is where the centre of the bucket's going to dig the footing. Then we move these string lines so you can dig it. And then I've still got it there for later. I can put it on the outside wall when I'm building the blockwork and things like that, just so the garage is in the right place. Building control's coming out later, and we're hoping they're going to tell us everything's hunky-dory, but we are a bit close to the tree at the back here, so that's going to depend. What he says about that is going to make the decision how we do the footings. We either go really deep in that back corner, or we might have to do like a different style, which is like a concrete raft. Well, hopefully he'll just turn up and say, yeah, the ground's so hard, like, it's fine. So we'll find out later on. There's one driveway that serves the whole plot. Basically, we're making a new one that comes straight into this plot to keep it separate from the second plot. So all the stone we've had out of the footings has gone here to build the ground level up, because it dips down quite low there. Normally there's no rush to get that done, but because we need to get the concrete lorries in as close as we can to the footings, we're trying to get that road in and half sensible by tomorrow morning, so lorries can drive on it. This is actually a well that we found when we started working up here, and it had all collapsed. Like, it had a big concrete lid over it, but it had all collapsed underneath. So we got down there, put this pallet across so I could stand in there, and we've just built it up to bring it up to ground level for now. And eventually it's going to come up, I don't know, about this height. And here is a footing for a wall, so this wall's going to carry on in, like, you know, make a corner there down the side of this plot, and I'm going to have like a nice little water feature coming out of the wall into the well. It's going to look cute in someone's garden. This is the style of house we've got planning for. Got blue lias stone on the front wall and this side wall, which is kind of them two, and the driveway is down here, so when you drive in off the road you see the nice blue lias walls. But then around this side it's like block and render, just to try and save some cost basically. That was the last strip of footing they were just digging a minute ago that we saw. And then the whole house is done. And then they'll be going on to the garage just down here. This front window is like a big feature window that goes up the full height, 2 stories. And so all this landing's going to be, doesn't show it very well there, but it's going to be like open, maybe a nice big chandelier or something dangling from the ceiling. This is what the garage is going to look like. We haven't decided on exactly what cladding to finish it in yet, but that'll happen at some point. Nice big games room or office or something and a bathroom on top of the garage up in the roof, like so. This is just a bird's eye view of the site, what it's going to look like. That's the new, so we at the minute we've got one entrance, we're splitting it into two, and the second plot will go up behind. And this is the first plot. This is where I was saying about we're trying to get the concrete lorries down so we can pour concrete to the footings on here. Basically what it's going to look like. Tony! Hopkins just rang. Yeah. They might be able to do concrete today. Yeah. Is that going to be ball late now because it's not planned? I know we still need building control to come out and sign it off. Yeah, we get concrete this afternoon. Better in if a heavy rain comes. They had a load cancelled, so could do it today.
Fucking cheap then, isn't it?
Yeah, it was £4 cheaper now. Like, I'll ring building control, see if he's anywhere near, because I still need him to
confirm it.
sign it, don't we? All right, Colin, it's Jamie Poole. You coming out this afternoon?
Yes.
Are you? Do you know what time? Just because something's happened, we might be able to get concrete this afternoon instead of tomorrow. So, if you could sign it off, that might work better. So you'd be like 2 o'clock-ish.
It's going to be 2 o'clock onwards, yeah. It's probably 3 o'clock. It all depends how his first appointment goes, because it's a big one.
All right, and you definitely got to come out and look at it. You can't just believe me that it's amazing. All right then, okay. We'll probably just keep it till tomorrow then. We'll leave it.
All right, sorry about that.
That's all right, no worries. Worth a try. All right, cheers, mate.
Yeah, always worth asking.
Nice one. Wait, he's got to be at charge 12 to 1.
So if you don't sign off to 2 o'clock, you ain't gonna get your concrete to 3, 4, are you?
Yeah, we're gonna be here all night, ain't we? Fuck that. So keep it till tomorrow, yeah. Sorry, we're gonna struggle today, mate. I don't think it's gonna happen, unfortunately.
The problem is I never looked into my own face. Am I ashamed of myself? Am I afraid of my emotions?
It's 6 o'clock in the morning. Just got on site early today. We got concrete coming for the footings at 7:30. So I just got an hour or so to check everything's ready. Get the laser set up with all the right levels so we ain't got to faff around later on. Gonna spray paint the heights of the finished concrete in the trench so it's easy for us to see, and then we just check it last minute. So quite a big day really. Always get a bit nervous on concrete days. No matter how many times I've done it, like I always get nervous. I don't sleep very well the night before. Although it's straightforward, you do as much as you can to get everything ready so that it goes smoothly. There's stuff that can always go wrong, and then concrete's just so expensive. Like if they can't get it off the lorries quick enough, you get charged like per minute every time the lorry's sat here longer than your time slot. So this is the site plan. This is the house. We've got footings dug there, and that's the garage. We've got footings dug there. We've only just built like a temporary road here, which hasn't been tested by a lorry yet. So I'm a bit nervous that that might not work properly, and you know, worst case scenario, we get a lorry stuck. So that's so that the lorry can back all the way down and pour straight into the footings. And then the same here, we've got a little bit of a hard standing and a temporary road at the back of the house. And again, that's the same thing. It's just all a bit iffy if the lorries are gonna get stuck or be able to get all the way there, because that's when it starts getting expensive, is when we get hold ups. But I'm sure it's all gonna be fine. That's why I'm here early, try and get all this stuff sorted so there's less chance of anything going wrong. That's what I'm doing basically. This is the laser level. Spins round, little red laser beams spin round, and then with the other end we got a staff with a receiver on it, and we just set the right height. Wherever that receiver beeps, solid beep, it's level. And then this end is a receiver, because it's dark you can just see the red line. Wherever that beeps, and makes that noise, it's level. Right, just going to set our levels. Down here's a pin we put in the other day, and that is set to the DPC height of the house. So I'll just set the laser to that. From there we work out the height we want our top of concrete to be for the footings. Sweet. Alright, turn that off a minute. What I like to do is just get a pencil, mark that up. We know that line is DPC on the house, but we want top of footing to be 450, lower than that. That's 2 courses of blocks, is 450, 450 mil. There, so that's house DPC. The DPC on the garage is going to be 150 mil lower than that. Six, 7, 5. Right, we're just going to see what they look like in the footing, and then we can spray it up. Down in the footings now. What I like to do is, before we pour concrete, which is the top of concrete is going to be that height, I like to go around and spray it, just so when we're pouring we know where we are, where we've got to fill the trench up to. I just go around, do that all the way around, just makes our life easier. Now 7 o'clock. That hour of prep has just gone like super fast, so glad I got here plenty of time. I don't know if you can see the red spray paint in the trench. I've done that all the way around. That's the height we're going to pour the concrete to. I've just got to go and do the same on the garage footings over there. 25 minutes till lorries turn up, so it's just going to be a mad 25 minutes, but hopefully get it all done in time and it all goes smoothly. That's garage footing sprayed up to level. Just got to do the water ducting. It's 7:20, 10 minutes ish till concrete turns up. And then the only thing left to do is when Julie and Tony get here with the digger to level out that last mound there, so that hopefully concrete lorry can drive right the way back and pour into that footing there. Yeah. Yeah, that's good there, mate. Like a dream, mate. What's coming here, yeah. So that's first 2 lorries done in the footings. I think we got at least 3 more to go in the house footing, and then 1, maybe 2 in the garage footings. They turned up 40 minutes late, and it was a bit hectic because 2 of them turned up at the same time, but all worked out all right in the end. It is 6:15 in the evening now. Managed to get all the house footings done today. Managed to get the footings for the garage done today. We managed to get the septic tank, waste management system thingy put in on plot 2. Building control came out and signed that off. We also managed to get another footing done for a bit more of the boundary wall. So although it's been a long day, it's been a very good, productive day. and I'm happy we've got everything done. Just a little bit more detail on the concrete we had today. So it was 8-metre lorries. We got 8 metres of concrete in the back. So we had 5 of them in the house footings, 2 of those for the garage footings, and then another one for the septic tank on block 2. So a lot of concrete today. I had every right to be nervous this morning because it's a lot of money, but nothing went wrong. The temporary roads I was worried about all held out and everything just worked a dream. But it helps having lads like Tony and Julian, who I had helping me today, and they basically just take over. Julian's like a lorry whisperer. He just makes the lorries go where he wants and just makes the whole job a lot easier. And Tony just knows exactly what Julian's thinking all the time, and they just work really well together. And I just run around helping out where I can. So things like that, having their experience just makes everything a lot easier. So that was good. Real positive day. Last time we saw you, we're still pouring footings. Since then, footings have gone off and I've started to lay the blocks round. Gone right the way round, done the first course on the outside, and yesterday I set out all the corners on the inside to damp course height, like the finished floor level of the house. So I got all the corners done yesterday, so that was a bit of a faffy day. But today I've just been running the blockwork in between the corners, so you know, down through here, that way, across the back, and we're just over in that back corner now. Hopefully by the end of today, if not Monday, I should have all the blockwork to the height I need, ready for the next bit. Tuesday morning, 20th of September, and this is the first block of the house. Just about to lay it. There it is. It's taken a long time to get to this stage, but that feels good. I want to go 1 course all the way around on the outside, 2 courses all the way around on the inside. So I'm going to set the inside wall out now. I'm just going to load out some more muck to carry on with the blockwork, but because it's quite hot today, it keeps going off in the tub, so just chucked a bit more water in with it, wet it up a bit so it's not too stiff while I'm trying to lay blocks with it basically. This is the outside wall of the house, which on the back here is going to be blockwork and render, and this is the cavity. So inside this cavity we've got like 100mm insulation and then just 50mm breather gap there, so that's why I've set out the 2 walls that width, and I'm just going to finish laying this inside one. So all the corners are set to damp course, but what I need to do is leave a gap for the doorways. I don't bring the doorway up to damp course, because even though the doors sit at damp course, it's going to be sat out on this outside skin, so the door's going to sit at this level. So I like to leave the internal wall down a bit so that we can send our insulation and concrete right through to this outside wall, and then when the door is sat on the floor goes right up to it and it's all insulated and damp proof and things like that. So I know the door is 900 off of that corner to here, that's where I've marked 900mm. So I'm just going to go and grab a square that across, and that'll be the last block I lay from there to there on this doorway. I'll do the same down there, and then I'll start on this wall down through here. 195mm. I like to hold my finger on 195mm and then just scratch down there, and it leaves you with a clear line down there to follow, and then you just batter it. All the way around. And that gives you a nice clean cut. Whenever you're laying blocks, bricks, stone, whatever, you just use a string line. You make sure your corners are plumb, gauge and spot on, and then all you've got to do is just pull a bit of string through, and that's what you follow with your bricks. As long as your corners are right, the middle of the wall will be right, and then that brick on there just holds the line spot on that edge of the block for you to follow, and the same down the other end. I just like to put something on the back corner there, and that just aims the brick straight down onto that corner again. Normally when you're laying blocks, you know, I know exactly how much I pick up with my trowel for each bed joint, but when you're on footings, even though these footings are pretty perfect, sometimes in areas where there's a bit of a dip, you might end up with a slightly bigger bed joint. So the first course in the footings, you always use a lot of muck, just to get a feel for the depth of the bed basically that you're going to need throughout. So it looks like I'm throwing a lot of muck down and moving it around. It's just what you got to do on the first course to try and get that block at level in the first course, and then it all flies a bit smoother on the second course, because you kind of know that bed joint is the same depth all the way through. So it's the same with the perp joints as well. These upright joints, they're called perp joints. You always keep them at 10 mil, which you kind of just, well, when you've been doing it for a while, you kind of just know how big a 10 mil joint is. But when I set this wall out, to avoid putting a cut in the middle of the wall, cutting a block in the middle of the wall, I think I had to gain like 50 mil or something. So through this wall, I'm going to spread my joints out a bit wider, just so I don't have to do a cut basically. Save me about 5 minutes of work and cutting a block, like, you know. So string line, that's a dead straight line, and I'm just literally following it with my blockwork. The blocks or any muck you lay, don't touch the line, because if the line gets pushed out at all, say if it gets pushed out a couple mil here, and then you don't realise, and you start following that new line all the way down for a bit, your wall's going to be all over the place by the time you get to the other end. So just tap it down, that's all perfect, and then fill the joints up. See, when you fill in the joint up, that pushes the line out. It's just something to be aware of when you finish tidying up the perp of each joint. See, that's spot on now. So this front wall here, this is the only wall I'm not going to be able to finish for a little while. One, because this is where I'm going to drive the machine through to do the drainage and that I talked about earlier. But also, this is like the front porch of the building, and it's got a big feature window basically, which is going to go from floor height, so from there all the way up to the ridge. So it's like a 2-story window with an apex in it. And I can't build this up yet because I'm waiting for the structural engineer to come back with a plan on the steels. I've got a feeling we might be fixing the steels down to the footings and then building them in, but until I get the plans off him, I don't know yet, so watch this space. So one of the other things that's happened since I last saw you is we've dug this area out nice and level. The plan was to hide the lockup behind the wall, but the lockup's just poking out over the top of the wall. But the lockup is the new grub hut basically. And this is it, look. Cozy armchair in the corner, nice big desk. This is where the coffee happens. The wall we've just done is this one. So you can see you've got big bifolds on the back here. That's the ones we just set out. This is the wall we've just laid down through there. So before I do the second course on that wall, I want to know where this door's going. So I've just measured it. I've got 900mm pier, same as that one, so nice and symmetrical, and a 2.4 wide door. So I'm going to set that out and carry on. Just going to measure the 2.4 off of there. I build my blockwork up to that side of this brick basically on this second course, and then that one will stay down for the doorway. Sometimes the concrete blocks, you do get chunks missing, or it's like, I think it's where a bigger bit of stone has gone in through the mixer and it's just not set properly like it should. So a bit of a default really. That should be a free block for me, but I doubt I'll be able to get my 90p back. Right, so I should have this blockwork done by Monday. By the looks of it now, should have the blockwork done. I'm going to come in here with the digger and just level off some of this ground to get it down a bit, because then we've got to put some hardcore in and make it all nice and level. I've got to run some drainage from like the back corner. There's a bathroom coming down. I've got to get the drainage in and out through the front wall here. And then there's another bit of drainage in the kitchen that I've got to get on this side out through the front there. So I'll do all that with the machine. So the next time I probably see you properly will be when the drainage is all set out, ready for building control to see. And when this floor has been all leveled, ready for concrete. So yeah, just before we concrete that, I expect, and we'll see you then. Blockwork's all finished now, bar that front wall, still waiting on steel, but the house is all up to damp course. The garage is up to damp course on the outside, but at the minute it's more important to get this drainage in so we can get on with the floor slab. So that's what I'm doing today. It's just setting up the drains that are going to be in the house, like the toilets, some of the upstairs bathroom and things, and then one in the kitchen. I just need to get them through so the pipes are poking out of the wall. We can get on with the floor, get all the slab done, and then connect up the drains later on whenever it suits. So that's what I'm doing today. So this pipe is for the ensuite in one of the bedrooms, which I can show you on the plan a bit later. And I think this one is the family bathroom upstairs. I've just got them both joined up together now. I'm just gonna measure and cut this piece to send it out of the house. Then you just need to file the end of it on a bit of an angle, just so it slots in the pipe a bit better. Lovely. Bit of gunk, just helps slide it in a bit. It seals up, this like seals all the joints up once they're all in together and it dries up. Damn it, I need to dig a bit more out the other end. And this is the one that's going to go out through the wall, but where the footing is so wide there on the front, it's not quite lining up and I'm gonna slot into here. So I'm just going to cut that corner off the footing there and do the same in here, and that'll just give us a better line for the pipe to fit through. Yeah, that's much better. the pipes in. Now we just got to basically bed them on this stone. It kind of makes sure that you've got a nice slope for them to sit on, so it's comfy. It's not up and down on these sharp rocks underneath or whatever. And also you go over the top of it and it just protects the pipe. This stuff doesn't compact like enough to crush the pipe. It just keeps it all protected and looks after it basically. See, just by looking, I can see there's a slight kind of dip here where they meet, so I'm just going to jiggle that up a little bit, let the gravel sit under it nicely. This one's sat just on the lip of the foot in there, so what I'll do is I'll build it up with this gravel and then just lift it up off that sharp edge. That's good, that'll be off that sharp edge now. Yeah. Step before concrete is to get the base nice and flat and level and well compacted with some hardcore, which is type 1 it's called. It's just like dusty gravel basically, but it compacts together really hard. So I just leveled this out and I'm just about to compact it with a whacker plate. That's that compacted. Quite obvious where it's kind of not perfectly level. You know, it's bobbling up and down a bit. So what I like to do next is just go around with some more type 1 and a laser level again, and just level it all in and make sure everywhere is perfect. And then it's good for concrete. This is the garage at the minute. I've got all the outside blockwork up at the minute, but I ran out of blocks the other day to get the inside up, and then I thought I better get on with some drainage so we can push on with the house. That's more important, getting that slab ready. So this third bay, this is like a workshop. So this has got a slightly higher DPC, just because it's going to flow better with the natural steps down from the house. And then these two are the carport. They're stepped down again to their floor level, just because that'll work nicer with the heights of driving in and things like that. But as I said, just waiting on some more blocks and then I'll get the rest of that up. Thanks for watching. Got any questions or anything you want to know, let me know. In the meantime, I'm going to be finishing off the drainage, finishing off the floor prep, and hopefully next time I see you, we'll be pouring the slab for the house. Drainage, that's all in. That's all been signed off by building control. They're happy. Now we've just been doing all the prep work for the floor slabs. We've got 100mm type 1 all compacted, all leveled out nice. Just put the sand blinding over the top. That just protects the polythene, like the damp proof course. So we're just finishing this last bit on the front. Tony and Julian are polythene in the garage, and concrete should be here shortly. Right, so this is the polythene, the DPM, damp proof membrane. So this stops any damp or moisture coming up from the ground into your floor and causing damp. It also is a radon barrier. So there's like a gas that called radon that just comes up out of the ground. You don't want that coming up into your house. So basically it hits this stuff, can't go anywhere, and it goes out into the cavity basically and just goes off somewhere, I don't know where, but it doesn't come into your house. So that's why you have this damp proof and radon. So you just lay it all out and then you just got to tape up all the joints. So concrete's going down. I'm just rushing, getting the last bit of polythene all taped down and out of the way. I normally like to get all this prep work done before the day before the concrete, but Tony and Julian changed their mind, wanted to do Tuesday instead of Wednesday, so bit of a mad rush getting all the polythene in done, but it's all going to plan. Yeah, everything's going to be good. So Tim, we're a little bit short in that back corner, so we'll get that on the next lorry. Julian's just going over it with the power float. That just like vibrates it all, shakes it all, makes sure there's no gaps underneath the concrete or anything like that, make sure it's all solid, and just gets a nice smooth finish on it. Tony over there on the Magi screed, the big fishing rod thing, he's just troweling it up, basically going back and forwards over that slab and just troweling it up, getting a real nice finish on it. It might be a bit wet for a little while, but I think you keep doing that for a bit as the concrete dries and it just gets a real nice finish, because that's the two bays of the garage that you're always going to see that you park on, like, so that's got to be a nice finish. Whereas the other stuff, as long as it's flat and level, it doesn't really matter what it looks like, because it's going to be buried in insulation and screed, like, but that is important to get that one right now. So that's concreting nearly done. We've got one more lorry coming and that should be enough to finish off this side of the house. Backfill some of the cavity we've got to get done. Hopefully next time I catch up with you, we'll actually be building and trying to get it up to joists. I've got a bricky coming and we're just going to smash the blockwork up. Yeah, and that's it. That's the next goal, is to get the joist height. So we'll be doing that over the next 2-3 weeks, hopefully. We finally started building, basically. Last time you saw us, we'd done concreting on the slab on the house and the garage. And now I've had Fergie, a bricklayer back there, and we had a lad labouring for us last 2 days. And we've started slinging the blockwork around on the inside. So we're up 6 courses, pretty much right the way around on the inside. We've got all the blockwork inside up 6 courses, and we're trying to back it up now on the outside. But it's just a fiddly start this morning because we had to get this bottom course round, set up our damp courses, put our tray in, and we got no labourer today, so it's just a bit slow going, but we got all the fiddly bits done now. So these are our corner profiles. That just saves the time having to build a corner by hand and then run it in. Basically you just set these up, get them all plumb, level, measure your line to gauge, and then it just makes everything easier. Like, thing when you're building your outside skin is just keep the cavity clean down there. Basically no moisture or damp can pass through the cavity into the house. These things here, we've left little gaps out here. Wheat vents go in there, but basically the moisture hits that tray, comes down, and it'll come out through these wheat vents. Basically they're like these little plastic things we poke in there and cement around, and they're nice and neat. Basically this little thing is like a stabilizer for the profile. As you get higher up with the line and that, it's pulling more and more tension on this profile, and the profile wants to lean in. So you just put these on, tighten these little screws up a bit, and it just puts that tension onto the block rather than the profile, like. Focusing on getting to this point for months and months. Finally started laying on Monday, and that's when it's finally started raining. Like, we had pissed it down quite a bit Monday. Yesterday we finished off most of the blockwork inside. We just had a few little bits left to do, like to make it all safe, and the heavens open. It's not too bad if it's raining doing thermalites, these blocks, because they're so like dry and light, porous, that's the word, because they're so porous. They can just be full of water and you can still get away with laying them half the time. Whereas these concretes, as soon as they get wet, they just start swimming and slipping around all over the place, and blockwork just gets messy and it's horrible. So we're doing all right, really. only other problem we found this morning with this time of year is the muck is just full of leaves. All the leaves are blowing off the trees into the sand and that, and of course it gets chucked into the mixer and you have to pull the leaves out every time you put a trowel down. But basically just talk you through what this is. It's fairly simple and straightforward, but basically we built these up 6 courses, and then the weather turned really crap and got windy, so it's just props to try and stop the wind blowing it over. Like there, that side, that's quite strong because that's a corner that kind of holds itself up. So we just put a plank from that end onto this one. This is quite a big exposed panel, like that's the type of panels wind just really loves to blow over, so that's why we propped that up. So I said earlier about we set the lines to gauge, but I never actually said what gauge is. Gauge is like how you measure your block work, so it's always spot on. Basically you always get your first course or where you're starting from, that's always spot on level, like with a laser level. And then from then on, you keep everything to gauge. The block work gauge, you know, every course has got a measurement. For example, this one is 1125. So we set the line spot on to 1125. And we run our block work through at that height, and that's right. We've done the exact same on the inside block work, so everything works nicely to the wall ties, the insulation works to that size. It's just the way everything works, like, so that's why we do that. Right, so that's the height. We're going to leave this elevation for now. That's good because it's backed up the thermalites. It'd be nice to finish it and get this one built on, just to hold it all. But if we do that, we won't be able to get the tape along this insulation joint. So we're going to leave it there for now. So finally caught up with Alan, the structural engineer guy. Went and picked the plans up off him Sunday afternoon. And I think this is why it's taken so long, because he's pretty old school and hand draws everything and works out all the sums and all that stuff, like, which is good. But basically what we're trying to do is avoid having this pillar here in the middle of the, on the side of the kitchen in this dining room bit. So he's designed me some steels to go from this pillar over to this pillar, and one from here that then joins onto those steels. So basically we have no pillar in the kitchen, like it's all open plan. And this is kind of what they're going to look like. I think that's where they join together. That's the long ones that come across the kitchen and join into the other beam like that. So, and I've just got loads of drawings of how it all goes together basically. So I've just got to meet up with the fabricator, which I've been trying to do all week, but haven't got round to yet, which is something I really need to do, but we've just been busy building. So just got to fit that in, and then we can get these steels made, because that's, if I don't get it done, that's going to be the next thing that holds us up. You know, we'll get the walls built to joist height, but we won't be able to put the joists on because I ain't got the steel, so I need to get on with it really. So that's it for today. Next time you come back, we'll probably still be building. Hopefully we'll be a bit closer to joist height. Hopefully we'll have got the blockwork around the outside. Any questions you want to ask or anything you want to know, leave a comment, you like and subscribe, that'd be great. So this is the tray I was on about earlier in the cavity. That comes down, you know, the moisture comes out in there. But before we can get all that set up, we've got to clean everything out. So lift it up, all this, like clean all this off, and then that goes flat against the building. You get one sheet of insulation in against that, tray comes over it, and then we insulate the rest of this. Like so, wedge this tray up on the ties there, just to hold it up out of the way while we tidy up underneath. Basically what we're doing, we're just getting it as smooth as we can underneath, because we're going to build on that in a bit. So we're just spending a bit of time tidying up all this. This is that radon barrier we were on about when we poured the floor slab earlier. So that's just poked out underneath our blockwork into the cavity. So literally we're just tidying that up, cutting that off out of the way. Then we lay one more block there, This tray then folds down, sits on that first block, and then we can start building again, basically. Right, so we're just putting, if you look at this one, we're just putting the insulation in on this bottom course. In some places, the concrete in this cavity, if you see the concrete is a bit like up and downy and a bit bumpy. So we're just having to trim the bottom of some of these sheets, because basically you want the insulation to sit, and we need this tray to be flat and level, if not slightly sloping down. What we don't want is it sloping back, because then any water will hit that and sit against that wall. So it's just taking a bit of time now to trim the bottom and get that bottom course in just right. Getting on with the shore cav, which is this black stuff, and basically we build our stonework up against it. So this elevation's got our stonework here, and it needs this stuff behind it to stop any muck falling down the cavity. So basically you build your stonework solid against this black stuff, and this keeps a 50mm cavity down the back. See, so no muck falls down there and blocks the cavity. It just keeps the cavity clean. So I'm doing that. Basically, it's these black plastic sheets. They click together with these grey bits of plastic, and it just sits against the insulation. And then we put them red clips on it, on these ties every now and then, just to keep that in place. And I'll show you a bit more detail as I do it. What I like to do, this is the black, this is the joiners. I like to just sit that on top where it's going to go, and then mark where the wall ties are. And you just get the grinder and cut a little groove out where the wall tie is going to sit. Sweet. And that just, where you cut that tight to the wall tie, that just pinches it all together and holds this stuff nice and tight, stops it rattling around. Okay, so this last one, mark 2 ties, and then this end bit, I mark it like about 30-40mm back from the end, just because in a minute we're gonna have a cavity closure up here, and I don't want this, if this plastic is sat there and my cavity goes tight up against the back of it, I'm gonna end up with a bit of a gap there. It's just not gonna sit as nice. So cut it back a bit, cavity closure sits tight against here, and it's nice and flush all the way up. But I'll show you that a bit later on when I do that. So yesterday I put all this stuff around. This is called shore cav. You don't need this, say if you're building brickwork or blockwork or whatever, because the blocks kind of like hold themselves. Bricks and blocks, they just hold themselves up because they're all uniform size, like they're all 100 mil. They hold themselves up. You can clean the cavity as you go, but with stonework you can't do that because the size of it chop and changes a bit. Like you can't just build it up and keep the back nice and clean like you do on brickwork. All the muck just keeps falling down the cavity and things like that. So that's where this comes in. You build your stonework in there, you can fill this up as you go, and this doesn't let any moisture through because it's plastic, but it still keeps your 50 mil cavity in the back there. So it's just a really good thing to use on stonework because you just keep a clean cavity still. It's a little bit fiddly to set up, but once you've got the hang of it, it's nice and quick to put around, and it just makes a really good job of your stonework basically. So just another thing I like to get set up before we build the stonework is these cavity closers. I'll show you one in a minute, but they got insulation on the back of them, and they basically just go over this gap, close the cavity, and then you can fit your window in there, and you don't get any like cold bridging, like it just secures the end of that cavity. No moisture or damp can get through into the house. It just makes it nice and safe. And normally you build them in as you go. So if you're doing brickwork or something, these stand upright on a reveal here, they're upright, and you can clip little ties in here and build them in as you go. But because we've got this shore cav, we needed to put the shore cav in, and I like to screw it to these, and that holds that upright. It holds the shore cav tight. You don't build it in with the stonework, but you still get a really good solid job there because it's all tied together. Like 2 weeks building now, and we're up to scaffold, nearly up to joist height. All we've got left to do is the panels of stonework. So we've got all the blockwork, all the bits that are going to be rendered, they're all up. We've just got 2 panels of stonework to do, which one of them's going up next week before the scaffold, and the other one might end up being under the scaffold, which actually is awkward, but actually be quite good in this crap weather because it'll give us some protection. Like this is one of the panels that's going to be stonework. At the minute we just got the first course up, so we just brought it all around to damp course height just to get that ready, because that's a fiddly annoying job that is nice to just get done, and then you can do the rest of the prep before you start building. So stonework is a little bit fiddly. Like it looks really nice while it's laid there, but it actually takes quite a lot of work to get the stones looking that nice. So as the weather's been crap, I've been up in the shed at the top there, keeping out the rain, dressing all the stone, making that look pretty, getting it all sized onto different pallets. And then what I'll do Monday is plan is to build this panel of stonework. So I'll bring all the different sizes down and the pallets with the forklift, lay it out here, set my string line up on this profile because there's a window here, and then that corner down that end I got another profile. Bring it all down here, set a line up, and then just go for it because I've already prepped all the stone. It's just a matter of getting it down and laying it as quick as I can, because I need to get all this up ideally before Wednesday when the scaffolds come in. So I should have enough stone dressed. I just got to get it all laid. All right, so this is what we're using to build the 2 panels of stonework. It's called Blue Lias. Get it from a quarry, AR Pennell's up in Somerton. This bag is called a 3.5 inch bag. So this is like anything from just under 3 inches to like just over 3.5 inches, something like that. You get other sizes, 4s. I've got a bag of 5s on the trailer that I've got to start dressing in a minute. Basically, that's really nice as it is, but we want it to be even nicer. So what we do is we go around each and every stone. I'll just show you. You see, like if that is sat in a wall, the 2 perp joints, that's got a bit of a curve on it, and this one's a bit kind of yeehaw all over the place. So what we do is we'd just like to parallel them up. Say nothing. So already you can see that's slightly better, like, you know, the 2 perps are at least vertical, so when they're built in a wall they're going to look nice. Then we go all the way around the edges because that's a little bit in and outy still. And we go through and just straighten it all up. And you can see that just looks a lot neater all the way through. So chiseling all that edges just means when you lay your bed of cement on there, you have a really nice tidy joint in between each stone. Like each individual stone gets showed off a bit better because you've taken the time to dress that all the way around. And then what we do is kind of size it within like 5 mil. So each course, you put all of these in a pile. So this is a kind of like just over 90 mil. So this will go in my 95 mil pile. And basically every stone you lay in that course is around 95 mil, and you only got a 10 mil bed joint, and they'll just look really nice and neat once you lay them. And every course is kind of within 5 mil. Every stone is within 5 mil inside the course, so it just looks really neat and smart as you lay it down through. 95. This is all the stone I've dressed so far. I've just, like I said, I've put them all separate size piles on pallets, ready to drive down so that I know what I need. So I've just got it all laid out in front of me there. If I know I need a 4-inch course, that's that pile. If I need like a 3 1/4, that's that pile. Like I've got it all there. So that's that. I got another bag on the trailer, another half bag in there. I'm hoping to get done today, but it's a pretty boring job, so I'll just see how I get on. So another thing when we're doing the stonework is the cement we use. So like brick and block work, you just use like normal sand and cement. With stonework, I like to use sand, stone dust and cement. It just gives a really nice finish when you brush off the joints and things like that. It gives a really nice finish if it's got this stone dust in there. Just a really fine stony dust, but you put that in with the sand and cement, and it just makes a really nice job. So we've had enough. I think there's 16 ton there. We've had enough to definitely do the stonework on the house and keep it all the same colour. We had another 16 ton of sand delivered, so that just means we can keep the sand and the dust the same colour, so all the mixes are the same. All of the stonework is going to look the same to finish the house, and probably got enough here to do the rest of the garden walls and things like that. So that's just something to bear in mind at the beginning of a job. If you're about to start something, that the colour is really important. Get it all here so you've got it. You know nothing's going to change, because you almost every time you go to a quarry and get a load, it could be a different colour. So you just want to make sure you got the right amount here for the whole job. Like. This is it once it's laid. This is what it looks like. Absolutely beautiful. Really happy with how it's come out. Just dropped back today onto the garage to start getting that round. So put 2 courses of brick round this morning to get the levels at the damp course, and now we're just going to get the 1 course of blocks round. We can set up our trays, and then we'll build a bit more. It's face work because it's a garage. All the block work's face. Like it's probably not going to be like rendered or plastered or anything. So it's lucky it's not raining today, because we want to keep the block work really nice and neat, because it's going to be seen, you know, forever. So it's just something else that we're paying attention to today. Like, we are blessed this week to have Fergie back with us. He's been away for a couple of weeks doing some other amazing jobs, but he's back with us now. Got him for 2 weeks. And we're just going to get as much as we can done.
You're lonely by yourself, eh?
I do, yeah. It's just me and the dog. It gets a bit dark, you know. Right, so this is the damp course. Basically, this stops your house getting damp drawn up through the walls. So what we do is just smear a nice bit of muck down, cover the brickwork underneath, and then this sticks to it pretty much. You just flat it down nice and smooth behind, and build on top of it. So we just realised, just rolled out that damp course nice and beautifully, but we forgot to fold this radon barrier underneath. So we're just going to whip that off quickly, put that in and put it on again. Right, so we've got that end, that wall set out now, so we're just going to run this one through. We're just going to set the blockwork out to gauge, because here it changes from concrete blocks to thermalite blocks. It all gets a bit fiddly, so we're just going to see what's going on. Oh, I was guessing at 4.5. That's fucking miles out.
4951 was the other ones with quite tight joints. So
What, 4950? Is that? That's gauge, isn't it? Yeah. What's the rest of that telling us then? Measure 900 off of that one. Getting a bit closer, aren't we? Is that it?
yeah.
And another, please, Carol. That works a dream, actually, doesn't it? Yeah, if we gain that in the joints, then that'll work half bomb, won't it? You reckon? So we set the blockwork out gauge from that end to this end. Where this block ends, that is gauge, and that means that that works nice. You've got nice joints, it looks half bond, it'll look all nice and tidy. What it means is we've got more than half a block here, and you want half a block to make it work half bond. So full block is 450 or 440, so we want 220 or 225 really with a joint like this end. So what we're going to do is slide this block that way. That gives us a half block there, so our block work will look lovely. This corner all works half bond and it'll all look pretty, but it means we've got to gain this much in our perp joints. So what we're going to do now is just dry bed all the blocks through, just to make sure it looks all pretty, and then we can lay it to that, and we know it's going to look spot on basically. Alright, stay there a minute, my little poppet. We good? Dreams. So what we've done there, we've just set up a simple profile, just makes it easier for us to run this first fiddly course round. But we've run out of clamps. Ideally we'd have at least 2 clamps on there, but we're running low, so it's a bit twitchy. We just got to keep checking it every course that it hasn't moved. All the blockwork that side of this wall, that's the 2 bays of the garage, so that's all faced concrete blocks, because there's no insulation or anything needed in the actual parking bit. But this one is a workshop, currently a workshop, but at some point, you know, either if I do it or someone else does it in the future, it could be a little like a annex or a separate little building bit. So we're going to build this one bay out of thermalite blocks, insulate the cavity and things like that, so that it's ready to go at a later stage. So that's why we're just changing from concrete blocks to thermalite blocks here. The goal of today really was to get the garage up to this height. So that was the 2 bricks and then the 1 block, and now we set up a tray. Because it's cavity, any moisture that either comes through that outside wall or finds its way into the cavity somehow, it runs down the back of these blockwork, it hits this tray, which I'll show you in a minute when it's sat down properly, and any moisture just gets sent out to the outside rather than trying to come into the house or the garage. Cut the length, you fold it down the block a bit, and it just sits on like half on this block, so you build it in on your next joint so that it's just poking out the wall, and then any moisture that comes down the rest of this wall just hits that, and this eventually sits out on that top course. We do the same again, we build it in down here so it's like a nice tray, it catches any water and it goes out through the wheat vents on the outside. Just noticed a hole in it there. I don't know why, it must be because I buy the cheap damp course, but every now and then it's got like a hole, it looks like it's been melted in there, which is a nightmare. So all I do is just put a bit of duct tape over that front and back in a minute, and that should solve the problem. But I don't know why it happens, it just turns up on rolls like that sometimes. Like I said, you got to have this radon barrier, this got to fold over this inside leaf and down into the cavity, but you've still got to put your damp course on top of that, even though this is basically the same stuff. What that means is you just end up with quite a lot of plastic, like, you know, in the corners here it folds over and it gets quite stacked up. You end up with quite you know, a fat bit there to try and get over. You've only got a 10mm bed, so that's why I'm struggling here and down the other end to get my blocks right down to the line, just because it's quite fat. I mean, it's not really a problem. We get over it over the next few courses, but it's just something to be aware of, like. Cool, that makes me feel old. 20 years since girls are out. So this bit here is just one of the garage pillars. So from here, there's a pillar in the middle and one the other end, and they just have big lintels over. This is basically the doorway for the cars to drive through. So we're trying to get this bit up now, but to do that, I've just got to set this brickwork out. So I'm just figuring out how it's going to go, but it's quite easy. 2 bricks that way and a bit back that way. So hopefully one day next week the steels are going to turn up. So I'm hoping that'll be the next time I see you. Today we have got Darren and Teddy coming. They have got some steels for us and we're going to be lifting them on the house. We've got 2 that are sitting on this corner, going all the way across to here, sitting on top of another steel across this bifold. And then we are bolting 2 more steels into the side of them. So all across there as well. And that's going to mean we can lose this pillar in the middle of the kitchen. So that's what we're doing today.
Look at where it's going, work out where the hole's going at, and we might be able to do that and that other plate, lift it up there. Instead of doing it up there, we'll do it, and then, yeah, we've got a plan.
You got a plan. All right, so I'll just bring the forks down, yeah? Hang on, you're going to kick the wall over, Dad. Hey! Back in an inch. Go on the inside in there, like. Yeah, maybe up a bit. Up on top of the bricks, but in line with that, that's it. You got it?
That's your centre line. Right?
Yeah.
That's your centre line, that one go in there. So if you hold that.
Oh yeah, on there.
Yeah.
So we've got the first 3 on. That's all gone fairly smoothly. They're just going to start bolting these up together so that those 2 are set and stable. And then we can start getting the other 2 in going that way. It's going to be a bit more tricky because we can only sit them on one end, and we've got to kind of hover at this end with the forklift while we bolt this end up. So that should be interesting. The other day we spoke to you and we just started the garage. I think we'd got a couple courses of bricks round and we'd up to tray or something. So since then we've been on it this week. Got all the inside up to 6 courses round, and then we've backed it up as well. Because the ground's so wonky here, we're going to get scaffold about here. Normally you'd want scaffold a bit higher, but we can't really reach any further because the ground's down. So we're going to get quite a low scaffold, but it just make our life easier than trying to struggle and get some more height on it. So yeah, it's that time of year now. The weather's starting to get really chilly. So whenever we build something now, every night we just cover it up with hessian, or as soon as we finish building it, cover it up with some hessian. That just keeps the frost off it, because if the frost, while the cement's still wet, if the frost gets in there, it can just kill the cement like and ruin it, and it doesn't go off properly and things like that. These are the two beams that we're going to do next. They're the ones that are going like along and back into the ones we've already done. So this end is going to sit on the padstone. I don't know if it's top or bottom yet, but that'll just sit flat on the padstone. And then this side sits in the web of the other steel and then gets bolted to it. So this is one I'm kind of imagining is going to be a little bit awkward when we're actually up there trying to get it in. Just like to say a big thank you to the guys at Van Haven for lending me this TTX for the week. It's been a huge help on the job. I had it over the weekend, it's perfect with the wife and the kids in the back, and it's still like a really nice car inside. But then I can fit all my kit in the back and I can drive it anywhere. As you can see, you know, big tyres, it's been raised, it's perfect for sight. Haven't been stuck once, and I've been in some tricky places, like loads of room in the back. I've put I had all my tools in there this week, and this tray thing is absolutely brilliant. You're not leaning over and struggling trying to get in there and find your tools and that. This just literally brings them out to you, whatever you want. It's there, easy peasy. So if you like the look of this van and you're after something that's perfect for the family, everyday driver, and perfect for work, get yourself down to Van Haven and have a look at the new TTX. Steels are in. That went really well today. It was a big help having Darren and Ted come and fit it and put all the bolts up together. Like, they just know what they're doing, and it's a bit easier. They work with it all the time, so it's easier for people like them to just turn up and do it. But now it's in, you get a good feel for what I've been banging on about, what we're trying to get done here. So that's the corner of the house. So when we build up on top of that, that's up above us. The rest of this is all flat roof, so they'll have some nice roof lanterns in them, big open windows, letting loads of light in, so that bit looks good. The reason we had to put such beefy steels in, originally there was like a pillar. We were going to have to build a pillar here, and that would have looked a bit Mickey Mouse, like in the middle of the kitchen, whereas now we've created this big open plan kitchen diner kind of thing, and it just looks loads better. These steels are going to be hidden in the ceiling, basically. So what we do now is we clamp a 9x2 timber in there, and then we hang our joists off it. So you won't actually see this steel. This is lost in the floor, like so. From downstairs, it'll just be nice big open ceiling. You won't know it's there. This one is the flat roof. So this will be roof joists going across there, flat roof on top. And on the inside, we do exactly the same thing. The floor joists are going that way, and then we just floorboard it. I think we're doing the joist next week, and then we might board it after Christmas, depending on how things go. Like. So that all went really well today. Fergie's been flat out on the garage, so that's pushed on a bit. Next time we see you, we'll be putting the floor joists on. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.